Wow, what a week it has been. Not even a week. It's been a long time of what the fuck? For me personally, these last 2 months now have been, I need to stop scratching my eczema, because it's definitely a stress thing. These last 2 months have been crazy for me. Just to put it blunt, my dad died very unexpectedly, and I keep coming into videos talking about that and saying that, but it's obviously the forefront of my mind. How could it not be? And yeah, so it's changed things for me. Obviously, it changed my whole life in just ways that I was not anticipating, or just not to happen. It was just unfathomable, even though it's something that I kind of knew was gonna happen at some point. When, I didn't know. But even leading up to it, I sort of had these inclinations, or these this sort of understanding that I was going to be leaving, or not I was going to be leaving someone, that someone was going to be leaving my life soon. I could deeply sense that and know that before it even happened. I didn't know that it was going to be him though, but last year I was summer of 2023, we're now in fall of 2024. Summer of 2023, I was really wanting to come home a lot to North Carolina. I live in New York, but I was wanting to come home a lot, and I was really upset because I couldn't really as much as I wanted to because of the way that my work was, and it was just building up a lot of frustration and tension just in my own personal being. And so I finally was able to make it work to make more trips home to North Carolina. And so and just from August to December of last year of 2023, I visited here 4 times, and then this year I visited twice in the start of the year. And I didn't think I was going to be coming back for the holidays, or at least not until Christmas time. And it's funny because I had all these plans for this fall, and I was I knew that I was, I had those plans, but there was still something in me that was telling me that I was gonna be in another place, or that I would, I had this feeling of I was gonna be going home more frequently. Even though I was I don't know why I would be going home, I'm, gonna be busy in school and work, and that's just not gonna be a thing. And then here we are. I've come home it's my 3rd time coming home since August, and it's only October. So the moral of this message and this entry is just to listen to your intuition. It's a reminder for me too, and to solidify that and speak that. Because there's been a lot of times where I haven't followed my intuition, and it led me to the wrong fucking place, or just to a place that I didn't want to be. Or something like that. But I just, it also goes to say that in the past there were these things where I had this internal knowing of I need to go home and spend more time with my family, because I know that my family is not going to be the way that it is with all of the members that it is right now for much longer. I thought one of my grandmothers was going to pass away because they're both getting older. But they're still going strong, and it's just funny how my intuition really came through there, and I'm really glad that I did listen to it. And I think back to the frustration that I had over my job because I wasn't a full-time employee, I was a part-time employee, and so I didn't have a lot of benefits, and so I wasn't really able to like take time off in the way that I wanted to. And I mean, really, I wasn't able to take time off like ever at all. Like if I did want to take like actual time off and like go somewhere and like leave, it was gonna cost me like, you know, like it was gonna, like I was, you know, it's just when you don't have paid time off, you're not really able to like actually take any real breaks from work. And this is somewhat normalized in our society, but it was really frustrating in my specific work environment because it felt like everyone around me had this benefit and had this ability to just go wherever for however long and have like paid time off, like they were being paid during their time away. And I did not have that luxury, and it really pissed me off because I felt so deeply that I needed to be spending more time with my family, and I like couldn't, and I wasn't. And so it's just funny how those emotions that come up and the frustrations and the anger, sometimes you don't really know what's fueling it, but it is sometimes serving this future knowing or like a message almost from your future self, or just, you know, like your emotions are kind of there for a reason. Sometimes they guide you. You know, like shame and sadness and, you know, just all those kind of like negative emotions are still so necessary for us finding our ways and our paths through life. I feel like our emotions are sort of our like path in a sense. They kind of create our path, I feel like, or they can. And so one of the things that's been coming up for me recently of like, I'm trying to really listen to myself and my intuition on this decision, because I'm currently faced with this decision or this choice of what I want to do when it comes time to like renew my lease in New York. I had every intention of renewing it with this cycle, this next cycle, because I was going to be in school, and I was planning on it. But just because of the way that things have gone, like for multiple reasons, I don't really want to stay there. I'm finding myself so much happier and feeling so much more fulfilled and peaceful and like appreciative, and just like I look around me at like the fucking sky and the trees right here and how blue and green they are and yellow, and there's grass, like it's so, just being here in North Carolina just feels so much better for me right now. And so there's so much of me that just wants to come back here. And when I talk to people about it, and especially people who, you know, are like supporters in a sense, like, you know, they care about me and what I'm doing and where I'm going, and, you know, they want me to like do good, and that's great. But I feel like some of these people, when I tell them about wanting to move back here, they kind of give me this like, why would you do that? You know, why would you give up what you have and what you've built in New York? And something about me is that over the last like 5 years, I've moved around so much. I've so easily, when I didn't feel right or comfortable in a spot, I was so quick and easy to just up and move on to the next spot. And I'm finally, like, this past year, I was finally able to get to a spot where I actually felt really comfortable, and I felt like so good about the decision I made and the place that I finally found myself in, and I finally like settled into a sense of like peace and security and ease, and like not wanting to move all over the place and to run, and like really just to have moments of like solitude and stillness and where I am and in myself. And I think that was huge for me, and in extreme, like I'm just so grateful to have had that this year and to have found that. Because if I had gone straight from the chaos that I was living before into this chaos, I don't know, like that would have just been crazy. I'm getting a weird call from Arizona, which is just strange, and it's not saying scam likely, but I'm not answering it. It's like Saturday at like 5 o'clock. I don't know who from Arizona is calling me. From Yucca, Arizona. Anyways, I'm so grateful for that. And I had a moment, I remember, in like the beginning of August, like end of July, beginning of August, before all the shit hit the fan with my dad, where shit was like really like borderline boring for a minute. Like it was just so simple. Like shit just felt very mundane. And I found peace there. I fucked around and found serenity in the mundane, as I like said over the summer when I was kind of going through that. And that was really beautiful, and I'm glad that I found that before I entered this, because I think it allowed me to feel more grounded in all of this, to like have like a true moment of peace in my life, and like in myself for a minute before shit hit the fan at home. And so now, back to what I was saying, is I'm just trying to figure out what the fuck to do next with, like, I have basically, it's been 2 months since all of this happened, and I'm coming up, I guess, on 3 months until the lease renews, so they're gonna be probably asking us soon, and I need to like think about it and be able to let my roommates know like what I plan. I mean, I've kind of already let them know I've been thinking about it and planning on it, but you know, I haven't said for sure yet, because people are like, you know, don't make a rash decision and all of this. And going back to what I was like saying is, like, I feel like a lot of people, when they hear me say or talk about moving back here, they're kind of like, why would you give up what you have? And the truth, it's like when I ask myself that, I'm like, because I'm not happy with what I have. Like, what I have is not what I want anymore. And what does that mean? That just means that there's been change and growth, and just change. Like, change, it's like just so much has changed. And so of course, because of all of this has changed, I'm gonna want different things. Like, it's like in the summer, I'm asking for, you know, I want to wear a tank top and shorts because I'm hot, and then in the winter it's cold now, so I want to wear more clothing. And it's like, I feel like these people are like, well, why would you want to wear that? Like, because you got this great outfit in the summer. Like, they're not like, but it's like they're thinking I'm in Florida still, or like they're not in Florida still. I was never really in Florida, but they're thinking I'm in Florida. You know what I mean? It's like, I'm like, this doesn't suit me. This doesn't suit my life. Like, sure, at that time I wanted this and I got it, and that's great, and I learned from it and experienced, and it changed me and made me who I am, to like contributed to who I am today, and like for that I'm grateful. So on to the next. Like, I don't know, that's kind of how I feel about it. That's like kind of how I've taken all of these experiences, that I've just been moving around so much. And so I've had this year of like, I mean, it hasn't been a year just yet, but coming up on a year of like staying in one spot. And that's been so good, because I have not been able to do that. I have not been able to like stay in one spot. And I did that this year, and I know that spot that I've been in this year is not where I want to stay forever. And I think about staying there for another year even. I'm like, do I really want that? Like, in my next year, this is where I am now. And this year that's in front of me, or that's approaching, like, what's gonna happen in that? I couldn't have anticipated, like, even just thinking about where I was a year ago, to try to tell myself what happened this year. I don't even know where I really, I mean, I think I guess I think I know where I anticipated being this year, and I could see that it wasn't going there, and it went other places, and this is where I am, and like, this is just what life, it literally just feels like life is like taking me by the shoulder and like just pushing me, just fully pivoted me in another direction. Like, that's what all of this feels like in my life. And maybe it feels like aggressive and like hurtful. It's not necessarily like I don't know. In some sense it's gentle because it doesn't feel like a super sudden like pushing, but you know, I don't want to rush into any of the decisions that I make. And so I'm trying not to do that. I'm really trying to think it through and like sit with it and stew in it, like let it stew and simmer, and so I can really get like a solid idea on like what's best for me. Because in some sense I already fucking know. Like when I think of like what do I want, what's best for me, the answer is like pretty clear what I want actually. Like I have a pretty clear vision in my mind of like what do I want, what's good for me. I know. And maybe not everything I do will align with that because I'm not a perfect person. No one is. But to at least know where I want to go and to know like what's good and bad for me and what I can handle and what I can't is really beautiful and magic, in my opinion. And so I also want to take a moment to shout out Terry Whitaker. I've been thinking about her a lot. She passed away earlier this week, and I had just watched her last video. I watched it the day she posted it. I watched the whole thing. I would see her videos every once in a while come up in my feed, and I would watch a couple minutes of it and I would kind of move on, in all honesty. But I always enjoyed hearing whatever she had to say and virtually interacting with her spirit and her energy. She was I just enjoyed her a lot as a person. And her last message rang so deeply for me, and I felt really secure and sure on all the things that had been coming up for me in my brain, and all the like I just felt like I had received a hug from her, and she had really like impacted me just from that one video alone. And I felt really comforted by her, like in the loss of my father. And I think she reminded me of my dad in some ways too. And then she died. And it was just another, like, there's just been so many, what the fuck, like, spooky, weird moments like that. Just so many of those moments happening. And, you know, I'm a believer in astrology or whatever. And when you look at the charts, shit is fucking popping off, like blowing, like whatever this train hornet, like I don't know, that feels perfect for like what I'm trying to say for some reason. Like shit is really intense right now, but it's all happening for a reason. Everything is happening for a reason. All of these moments happen to inform you of your next steps, of where you are, of it, like it literally just forms. It's just, I mean, all of the challenges and like that is just literally what life is made of. And like I don't even know where I'm going with it anymore. But I do feel very inspired by Terry, and I want to put myself out here more and connect, because I've already been feeling called to do that for so long, like so long. I was feeling really called to like actually do it before my dad passed away. He shared, you know, videos on YouTube, and I'm so grateful to have that like capsule, virtual sort of capsule of him and his energy and his spirit, like, on the internet for me to always just sort of reference and visit. And it's been hard for me to, like, open up and share myself, or feel really safe and secure in that, since his passing. But I really want to, like, I'm feeling so called to open up and share and just put myself out there. And, like, even with Terry, what she was saying at the end of her video, she was, like, inviting people to, like, interact with her and reach out to her and contact her. And I thought that was so beautiful and brave. I mean, I don't know that I could open myself up to the internet in, like, the way that she was, but I really appreciated it because I did feel like I could actually go to her, and I wanted to go to her. And it just made me feel, especially with her passing just days after, like, that night, like, I just feel so sure, or just so, like, okay with, like, or I don't even know the words, but, like, I just feel so deeply that I need to do this and, like, share myself, I guess, and my thoughts and my feelings and my vulnerabilities, I guess, even just, like, with the world more. I mean, one thing that's, like, oddly brought me so much comfort in all of this is, like, just, like, Reddit pages or a YouTube comment, just, you know, any kind of, like, public forum on the internet of hearing someone else's story, and not even necessarily if they've gone through the exact same thing, but just sharing your experiences with other people can just be so good. And I think it's so important that we do it more and not be so quiet about what we're going through and what we're feeling and what we're struggling with. And it just causes that pain to become so horrible inside of us and, like, so poisonous and toxic, honestly. And I think that's where so many people are in so much pain, is because they don't know how to share it, like, how to actually share their feelings, and in a way that can be received with other people. You know what I mean? It's okay to have negative feelings, or, like, down bad, you know, like, it's okay to be down bad, like, it's okay to not be okay, like, right? We've heard that. But it's what you do with it and how you decide to expel it and get it out of yourself, and transform it and put it to waste and to rest. You know what I mean? Like, the disposal is very important. You know, if you're like think about, like, your feelings in the same way that you, like, consume food and beverage. You know what I mean? Like, you consume it and you process it and you expel it. And, like, you know, what we are supposed to do as humans, like, we go to the bathroom and we dispose of that stuff properly, and it is, like, fine, right? And everybody does this. Everybody has to do this. This is just a part of life. But if you're not taking care of that shit, and you're not disposing of your waste properly, even just thinking about that, like, in your home too, if you're not disposing of your waste properly, what are you going to be left with? A nasty fucking mess. And who wants that? But you know what? It happens. Nasty fucking messes happen. And what do? You clean up. And if you need help cleaning up, that's okay. You can ask for help to clean up the mess. Like, we are supposed to be there for each other to help clean up our messes. And that's why it's part of the reason, not the only reason, but it's part of the reason why you build friendships, and not just friendships, but you nurture your relationships, is so that you can depend on each other, because we have to depend on each other. I don't know how I've ended up at this point in the conversation, or how I got here, where I'm going with it. But I think I'm gonna stop there and